Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gray Matters Radio. I'm your host, Michael Devine. I am America's counselor. Why America's counselor? Well, I think we're all in need of counseling right now. You know, I took it upon my patriotic duty to take America on as a client because you know we need it. You know, do I have to do it? No, but I'm an American. I am not an American. So welcome to our latest episode, everyone. So I was kind of thinking a little bit about tonight's episode. You know, the armchair, still unavoidably detained overseas. So hopefully we will get him back into the studio sometime soon. But it's okay. I'm gonna hold the fort down, because I'm a therapist. I'm used to doing the job by myself. So come on, I can get this job done. But so all right, so for tonight's episode, something I was kind of thinking about. This is actually earlier in the week, and I'm a counselor. I'm a real counselor. You can look me up. I got a license. I got a practice and everything. And I was talking with a family. I work a lot with families, and I was talking with one of the kids, and we'll just say that a lot of times kids are what we call the identified patient. They're the person that basically is brought in and identified as being the one that is the problem in the family. And now sometimes a kid can just be a real asshole, and it is his problem. The parents are doing a good job. But 9 times out of 10, the parents are not so innocent in all this. And I was actually working with a client this week that made me really think about what's going on in America right now. And this kid, he was saying, man, do you have any idea how hard it is to know what to do when your parents are completely disagreeing? And really, going completely against what the other parent has said. It's one thing when the parents are divorced, but it's a whole other thing when the parents are still married together. They're literally in this together, the same house. And they'll either completely go back about what they said. They'll change their opinion. It's just the kids get mixed messages, and I don't know if people realize how important that is to have a cohesive message. Can you imagine in sports if the owner is saying one thing, and then the manager is saying another thing. The head coach is saying one thing, and the offensive coordinator is saying something different. If mom says one thing and then dad says another thing, who is it that the kids are supposed to pay attention to? We literally did research when I was in grad school, and they were actually looking at the long-term effects of domestic abuse or witnessing domestic violence in a house. And one of the things that predicted personality disorders or disorders where literally it's almost like your whole personality in and of itself becomes a mental illness is when the parents said one thing, the kids observed the parents fighting. But when the parents go, oh, no, honey, we're not fighting, we're just talking loud. You see, the parents, in our reality, the parents are the ones where that's what kids base their entire worldview on. And so if the parents are saying, no, you didn't see something, and even though their own eyes, their own brain interpreted it creates like this schism of maybe I can't trust my reality because I trust my parents' view of reality more than my own. And it creates this kind of fraction, this fissure in reality where when it's ongoing domestic violence, when these things keep happening, it literally creates like a fracture in the personality to where we start seeing personality disorders. And so if just to put it in that perspective, how important it is what parents do, how much they set the tone. Not even just down to what the rules are, because kids can take advantage of it where they go to one parent says no, or they set one up and they go, well, mom said it was okay. So kids do it all the time. They know what they're doing. But parents should really know what it is that they're doing. And so if one parent says one thing, and let's say they're saying something about don't talk to people this way, but then they talk to each other, the parents, with no respect, they talk down to each other, they swear, they curse, they say the most awful things. What do you think the kid's going to do? You could sit there and go, don't do as I do, do what I say, but we all know that doesn't work. We learn our interaction patterns from our parents. Hell, my research when I was in grad school is on attachment theory and how a dad treats his wife with a female. They have a daughter. The daughter will actually seek out people that match that communication pattern. So if a dad treats the wife with respect, she's going to go out. What research shows, she'll go out and find somebody that treats the wife with respect. But it's a lot of times the complete opposite. If the husband treats the wife like she's nothing, she's below her, a lot of the research shows that the statistics show that the daughter will a lot of times have relationships that will actually mirror the same exact thing, and vice versa with boys. And so parents have a giant, profound effect on us. That shouldn't be news to anybody watching or listening to this show. That should be common sense. So when we have a household, and in this particular household where literally, if I didn't know what the people's names were, I would think the mom arguing with a kid, I would literally think that they were a married couple, not a mother and a son. And that's how, and then they wonder why the kid then talks to them with no respect. Like there is no hierarchy whatsoever. And so literally as parents, they set the tone for everything. I mean, how you treat people, how you talk to other people, how you treat each other, morals, your values, all of this, right? So naturally, it started getting me to think about what's going on in this country right now and how much our elected officials, celebrities, media personalities, they inherently set the tone for the rest of the country, especially nowadays, because people form and construct almost their entire worldview, their view of reality based upon whatever echo chamber of news that they happen to be watching that day. And so, so I started sitting there looking at, my wife and I, we're like trying to figure out like, okay, should we send our daughter back to preschool with the pandemic that's going around? I've been debating about whether or not I should go in and start seeing clients in an enclosed room. We've been talking about having playing with some of the neighbors, and the neighbors that we know have been pretty good with, staying home during the shutdown. What parents we should see? Should family members come up from a different state? And for the 4th of July weekend, all these things, these are very important questions. These are really, if you're thinking about, these are life and death decisions. Life and death to open the economy or not open the economy, to go to the store, to not go to the store. That's what's happening in the world right now. We're making life or death decisions based upon what we know about a dangerous pandemic. And that's wherein lies the problem, is that even though we know our government's corrupt, even though we know a majority of the people that are elected officials and even the media, they're all in it for themselves. They're there for power. They're there for status. In the political parties, everything is jockeying for a position. They'll say and do things that they know are wrong, but if it wins political points, they'll do it. They justify it because the ends justify the means. And they live in a world where they live in this microcosm of political points and posturing and who's going to look better, the next election, how something is going to play out with a focus group. That's what their viewpoint is. And everything that they do is going to be based upon how's it going to play in November? How's it going to play during the elections? But what they're not thinking about anymore is like, what is the effects, though, on regular people with the things they say, the things they do, and how that affects the decisions that we're making. Typically, we're talking about the economy or a foreign policy thing, but those are a lot of times for most of us. It's self-employed. I make a lot of my, decisions based upon it, but a lot of times that we're not making one-to-one decisions where if I do this, I live or die. It's more about we're electing people that we trust to make those right decisions for the people that might live or die. But right now in this country, we can't even figure out whether or not it's safe to open the economy back. We can't figure out if it's safe to send our children back to school, to preschool, to play with their friends, to have family come over vacation, to go and eat at a restaurant, to go to a bar, to go a shopping mall. And you know why? Because the parents in the room, the people that should be the parents in the room, are setting a tone of they're fighting back and forth. Each side is using this pandemic for political posturing. And as a result, nobody wants to admit something that might make them look bad, or they want to admit something that does make the other person look bad. It has nothing to do with what is going to help regular, average Americans have the information that they need to try to understand something that you need literally a master's or a PhD to understand. How can we give the American people, the taxpayers, the people that make up this country, the backbone of this country, we need to give them the information so they can make those decisions. But we don't trust the information that our institutions are giving us anymore. Why else is there a 30-point gap between Republicans and Democrats on their whole viewpoint of opening the economy up or keeping it shut down, whether or not coronavirus is a serious threat or it's not a serious threat? That in and of itself right there should tell us something, that whenever we're not trusting the CDC, we're not trusting doctors. If anything, we're protesting doctors. There's literally armed people standing outside of doctors' offices, like Dr. Amy Acton. Or Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. Now, agree or disagree with how they're going about handling, the quarantine, but these are the people that actually are trying to help. These are people that gain nothing, even though there's conspiracy theories out there that probably say that. But the only reason people think they're conspiracy theories is because there's a group of people that know they can gain by people thinking it is a conspiracy theory. So the very people that spent their entire lives educating themselves to try to help people, those are the ones that we don't even trust anymore. Or if we trust them, the other side looks at you an idiot for trusting them. Or if you trust a politician, well, you're an idiot for trusting the politician. So then they'll attack, because if the testing isn't going very well, it's not about acknowledging that it isn't going well, so we can look at ourselves and go, hey, listen, so the next time this happens, what is it we can do to have an honest look at why this thing didn't work out, so then we can make some changes so we can save lives the next time? If the shutdown really is or isn't working, shouldn't we have a really good idea, not because it makes one group look bad or one look better? Shouldn't we understand what actually is really happening and what is the right answer, so we can actually, the next time this happens, and hopefully there isn't, but I think we know what's going to happen again. Don't we need to understand legitimately what is working and what isn't, so we can really take stock of what it is we're doing well and what it is we're not doing well? I mean, doesn't that make sense? I mean, isn't that the information? If you're a CEO of a company, you're looking to your employees or your board members or fill in the blank to give you the information that you need to know what's going on in your company. Why did it work? Why did it flop? You need to know that, so as a CEO, you have the right information to understand if it flopped, why did it flop, so we don't do that again. But if everybody in that room is telling you what you want to hear because they're afraid you're going to get angry or it's going to make you look bad, well, then you're going to give the wrong information. You're probably going to make the wrong decision. If something worked out really well, don't you want to know why it worked out, so you can capture lightning in bottle, rinse and repeat, and do it again? That's how it works in business. That's how, I mean, and in business, it's black and white, because you either make money or you don't. You get fired or you don't. The shareholders like you or they don't. It's black and white. And you can't hide behind the facts. But for some reason during a pandemic, all of a sudden the facts don't matter anymore. The facts don't matter because it's all about power. It's not about us. As a result of that, we don't know what the right information is, because no one can admit what the Democrats don't want to give Trump any credit for anything, because if they do, it might make him look good and he'll use it against them as an election ploy. They don't want to give that to him, so they can't even give him credit where anything actually is working, so we know what to double down on. Just like Trump can't stand anything that's bad news because it makes him look bad, so he can't admit it. Nothing falls into that criteria of what is the real information, so we can make the right decisions. Now, it's so easy to get us distracted by the only way that we don't see what I'm explaining to you right now is if we keep it in the ethereal. We keep it on the news. We keep it online. We keep it about some senators and congressmen and presidents and media people that will never meet, that frankly we know will probably never even give a shit about, will never ever meet or anything. That's the only way that they can get us to argue, because if we then bring it back to our own lives and go, well, wait a minute, let's look at what they're saying and apply it to our own lives right now. And all of a sudden, the things that people say, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And the real result is exactly the debate that I'm having in my own life, that people are having outside of here. I don't know if we should should we go back to, doing, take my daughter back to preschool? We know kids are little disease vectors, but if you listen to one side, kids are actually like little disease vectors that have it. They don't have really much symptoms. They might get that Kawasaki's inflammatory response, but it's very minute. I mean, hell, at one point they're saying kids can't get it and kids can't spread it. But then you read something else that a scientist said, the CDC says, and it's like, no, they're largely asymptomatic, but they're still passing it on to everybody. Anybody who's had a kid in preschool and school, they get sick all the fucking time, especially when they're like 4, 5, and 6, when they're going to school and building their immune system. We all know that. And so mysteriously we sit there and go, kids don't spread diseases. They can't do that. And it's like, whatever. Like most households who get the flu, they probably get it because their kid is the one that brought it home. And then the parents have to take care of them. Then they get sick because they're staying home with them. That's the truth. And so we know kids can kind of spread it. But we're so fucking twisted in our heads right now because of the people that are in charge aren't thinking about what's best for us. They're not thinking about giving us the real information. All they're thinking about is getting elected or not getting elected. And as a result, they take information that makes one look bad. We take one that makes one look good. Each one spouts their own thing, and it's up to us to figure out what the fucking truth is. And they're really effective what they do. They're effective because they recruit people like us in grad school to take what we know about the human brain and what makes us learn and what we pay attention to. They call them human factors. And then hire us to work for them to take what we've learned to help you. And they twist it around to go, how can we do it to trick you? How can we get you to pay attention to shit that you normally wouldn't? How do we keep you paying attention to it? Emotions are all the game. How do you overlook facts? It's like you go see a scary movie, you walk into the dark. You know it's not a real movie, but guess what? You hurry to find that light switch because your emotions are telling you to do it, even though you know it's not real. That's exactly what the media and what the politicians do. They bank on all you're going to do is get riled up. We're going to double down on it. And by looking at emotion, you're not going to sit there and look at your own life and go, wait a minute, that shit doesn't even make sense in my own fucking life. But that's what's happening. That's what you need to know, America. It's we're fighting with ourselves, and they're not even doing anything for us. And we're sitting there pointing the finger at what side is actually doing something for you. No, they don't. They both don't give a fuck about us. You know why? Because of everything that is going on right now. Because we look at what's going on right now. You don't have a single person being the adult in the room. You don't have anyone sitting there going, wait a minute, we're confusing people. We're worried about getting reelected. Meanwhile, the information we're putting out to people is confusing people. No one believes anything, or whatever they do believe is like half the time the wrong information. And that's the information that they're going to be making life and death decisions for their family, and they don't even give a shit that we're all confused. I mean, I love epidemiology. A good friend, Dan Evans of the show, he is an epidemiologist. I'll talk to him constantly. My wife is a nurse. My family's worked in healthcare. I understand epidemiology and neurophysiology and psychoneuroimmunology. And even I am confused as to, should I be in an enclosed room? Should I be wearing a mask? Should I not? Should I be sitting in a conference room? Is it even a good idea? Should I have an air filter? I don't even know, because no one can keep their fucking story straight. And at every step along the way, everybody's discounting the other person because it isn't politically convenient. But you know what else isn't politically convenient? Me not knowing if by sending my kid to preschool, they're going to fucking die. That is what's really inconvenient. 40% of low-wage hourly workers not having a job right now because we can't get our head out of our ass as far as like what we should do for the shutdown, when we should open up, what is safe. We have people arguing with each other about whether or not they should go to the store and wear their mask. We have families getting into fights over like, well, I don't know if you should come over. I haven't seen you for 3 months. Well, it's like, sorry, like I don't know if you're going to kill my family or not. I don't know if I'm going to kill you. That's the net result. And they don't even give a fuck. You know what they're doing? They're doubling down on it. They're not even attempting to act like they give a shit about us. That's the scariest thing about all this. No one's even talking about that. Meanwhile, we're fighting with ourselves. We've been turned into the enemy, and people like me are in the trenches trying to help out, and all we're doing is to send you guys back out into battle. We're the ones seeing the end result of all this, the civil war that you're focusing. Because as long as we hate each other, we're not going to be angry at you guys. And I, for one, I'm fucking done with it. I know I shouldn't have that strong of an opinion as a clinician. I pride myself on that, so my clients don't automatically know how I think about it, but I'm fucking done. Like, I'm fucking sick and tired of cleaning up your guys' mess. I'm sick and tired of the suicide rates and the addiction rates skyrocketing every fucking year, no matter how much awareness we have, no matter how much we sit there and put money into it. And the problem is you guys are the problem. You've created this vitriolic world to where the only thing that matters is you guys ending up on top. You don't give a shit about us in the trenches and what it's doing to us. You guys should be the fucking parents in a room. You guys are acting like the cool aunt and uncle in the room that just want to say what, it doesn't matter what mom and dad have to clean up the mess. You just do what's cool and what you think everyone else is going to like. But the truth of the matter is, you guys got to start fucking acting like the parents in a room. Not telling us what we need to hear, but telling us what we want to hear, telling us what we fucking need to hear. Even if that means you might not get elected, because you're up there to protect us, not to protect you and your constituents and everything. It is so completely fucked, and I, for one, am done. We wouldn't accept that in our own lives, with our own families. Why are we accepting that with our own politicians? It is wrong. You guys have to figure it out, because, and I want to sit there and go, well, if you guys don't figure it out, we will. But I think we all know that's bullshit. I know, listen, if it comes down to like psychological, types of, issues, when it comes down to like depression, anxiety, ADHD, that shit I can fucking help. But I think I've fooled myself for way too long thinking that, okay, yeah, like you talk to people in a different way and mysteriously we're all going to be able to get along and realize that you guys are the enemy, but that's not happening. You guys are so damn good at what you guys do. You guys know that ain't happening. That's why you guys are so cavalier with it. But in the same breath, I can't just sit here and just act like it doesn't piss me off. I can't sit here and act like the therapist doesn't see what's going on, because I have to clean up your guys' mess. It sucks. It's fucking exhausting. And it's just so shitty that you call yourself Americans. You call yourself, like, you drape the flag on you, say, make America great again. You talk about your fake patriotism. But what kind of patriot is there when you're doing shit that literally, in the time when we need clarity, the time we need facts, the time we need cohesiveness, the time we need people to actually not put themselves first, to be like a parent and do what's best for the common good? You guys can't. You guys have the inherent inability to do it. And I get it. There's probably so many things behind the scenes that I'll never, ever understand. So many things I'll never know. But you know what? I don't give a fuck. It doesn't justify why it's right. Well, you did this to us first. Well, back in I don't give a fuck who started it. What is it? It doesn't fly with parents. Well, he did this. Well, I'm fucking ending it. So why are we even using that logic anymore? Well, they do. Well, it's like a fucking chicken or the egg. We keep going back and forth like a pendulum between each party. Of course, each side fucked the other side, but we keep using the damn justification because that's what they want us to do. So it has to stop. Bring it back to your life. Bring it back to when with your job. Would you run your business this way if you were the CEO? If everything was good? Or you're just surrounded by a fucking circular firing squad, it wouldn't work. You could not run your business. Would you run your household like this? If both parents were fighting this way, would you think that was okay if this was your family or like your brother or sister? You wouldn't be cool with that. The only reason we're cool with it is because they're getting us to be cool with it. And we should not be cool with this in any way, shape, or form. We have to stop getting them to stop making us look at what's happening in our own lives to look at what's happening in their lives, because that's the only place where it makes sense. Bring it back to your own life and go, would that work in my household? Would that work in my community? Would that work in my church? Would that work in my school? Would that work in my business? And the answer is a resounding no. As I always tell my clients, whenever you do something, you have to sit there and go, what is the purpose of my behavior? If I say this, if I do this, are you sitting here and thinking about what's going to make you feel good? Are you sitting there thinking about, well, I'm angry, I want to be less angry, or I'm right and I'm pissed off that they don't think I am and I want to be right? But is anywhere in there a solution that's actually going to get the other person to hear you? Because the reality, if you're married or you're in a business, you have to find a compromise. Or even compromise is such a bad word. You got to find a way of at least having some line of logic where it's like, okay, we can at least make a decision on this even if we disagree. Because the purpose in a business is to make money. You're not going to do something to save face if it costs you money, because the number one goal is to make money. If you're married, if you want to stay married, your number one goal in an argument is to think about what is going to help reduce the tension, get us to stop fighting, and make it and come to an agreement so we can make a decision on this. So why is it that we don't demand the same out of our politicians and our media? The media is easy to stop watching, they go away. Politicians, I mean, stop voting, but they give us what it is we put out there. So why is it that it is okay to fight with each other like this, to say the things that we do when there stands no chance, zero chance of the ending in anything but a bigger stalemate and a bigger divide? I don't get that. Somebody please explain to me how that is going to play out. Like it doesn't, because in our own lives we don't do it. So once again, why are we doing it at the national level? Why are we being tricked in that it's okay? Because it isn't okay. They get us to think it's okay because we're so angry at the other side, because the other side is a reason why shit sucks, or why my life sucks, or why I don't have something. So they justify it. But the reality comes down to it is that what is the point of arguing if we are a country that is stuck with each other any way you look at it? It's not like one party is going to win every single seat, and the attempt to do that is just going to fucking destroy it. It's a Pyrrhic victory. So why? That's the point. They get us to be emotional. They get us to hate each other, so we don't sit there and go, well, what's the point of doing this? I know where this is going to end. If I take my phone and out of anger and chuck it at the wall, is that mysteriously going to make me not angry or make my phone work? No. We know it's going to break it, which is why as an adult, hopefully we got to the point where we don't do that shit anymore. We might get up to the point of doing it, but we stop it. Because we use our brain, that lump 3 feet above our ass, to realize that is not going to work out. So don't let them do that to us anymore. We need people to be the parents in the room, and I know I'm just a therapist, and I probably go on diatribes and rants all the time with clients, and sometimes I don't know if they're listening to me, but sometimes it's not necessarily about whether or not I think they're going to listen. It's about, does it need to be said? And I think this needs to be said. Because I, for one, if I'm confused, I know everyone else is. And in this day and age, it should not be that way. And that's what the counselor's advice is. Bring it back to your own life. Double reality test whether or not that makes any sense, whether or not you do it in your own life. If you don't want to do it in your own life, we shouldn't do it on the national level. We just shouldn't. Demand our politicians to make decisions that are best for us, that regardless of what it does for them, regardless of the political posturing, we need the right information, because we don't get the right information, people are going to die, whether it be through the economy, whether it be through whatever. And then who knows what even is going to be left of the country after this, because we're going to have 100,000 people dead. We're not going to be able to agree upon even how many people are actually dead and why they died. That's where we're at. 100,000 people dead, more than the Vietnam War, more than the World War. It's like, okay, sweet. That's where we're at. How in the fuck are we going to beat a pandemic if we can't agree upon a basic number of how many human lives are even alive, what they died of, what could we have done to help prevent that? What did we do right? What did we do wrong? What worked? What didn't work? If we can honestly answer those questions, we will be in a better spot the next time this happens, because you and I both know it is going to happen. And if that's what our goal is, if that's what we want, the next time this happens, that we stand a fighting chance to fight this thing better, lose less lives, and react more nimbly to this. That's the only answer. That's the only thing. But if we want the same thing to happen, then we just keep doing what we're doing. Take our sides, discount any evidence that makes my side look bad and your side look better, or vice versa. And that's a surefire way of, we will have no fucking clue really what we did right, what we did wrong, where it went wrong, because all it is about is just winning an election or covering your own ass. That doesn't work out in any place, but this mythical world of Washington, D.C. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just not, and that's why I do the show. That's why I talk to you guys the way that I do. That's why I talk to my clients the way that I do, because maybe you'll listen. I don't know. Maybe it'll get your attention. I don't know. But can't argue with the logic. I'm not going to say I know what the truth is about all this shit with with the shutdown, not. But what I do know is that they're dropping the ball. All of them are. It's time for us to hold them accountable. And the only way they're going to be held accountable is we hold them accountable. And I, for one, am. America's counselor will. So, but that's our therapy session, And that's all I got for you guys. So let's end on a let's end on a rant, right? So on that note, everybody, I can be a little angry sometimes, and I can rant. I don't got the armchair to reel me in, but I care. I really do. I'm just sick of seeing the suffering. I'm sick of being caught in the middle. I'm sick of being in the trenches, just watching all this happen and feeling like I can't do anything about it. And that's why I do this show, because even if I don't make a difference, at least allows me to feel like I'm, not just bitching and moaning, and I'm being part of the solution. So, until they shut me down, or until maybe my wife just tells me to knock it the fuck off, I'm going to keep doing this week in and week out and be right here with you guys. Even if we agree or disagree, we're going to be able to talk with each other about it, and it's okay. We can learn how to be okay not being okay for a little bit. On that note, everyone, I am Michael Devine. I am America's counselor. This is Gray Matters Radio. And remember, next time someone asks you, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican.